In today's video, we're going over Zavala's brand new attunement feature where you can attune different Onslaught weapons, and I do have individual videos on each of these weapons, so if you really care that much about each of these weapons and you really want to dig deep into them as much as I can go into them, I have really short reviews on each of them, but this is one big video where I'm going to be discussing what I think each of these weapons do best and which weapons you should go for depending on if you're a PvE player or a PvP player. But before we hop into the video, be sure to hit that like button if you do enjoy the video, and consider subscribing because I make new Destiny content all the time, and it's more on the educational or informative front to teach people about the game, weapon perks, and how different weapons work, and some really cool builds. With that being said, let's hop into the video. First up is Forbearance, which is more of a PvE weapon, but I will talk about it for the Crucible if that's something you care about. You want quick launch with high velocity rounds and a handling masterwork to get you 95 handling. You're going to want Disruption Break because anytime that hits an enemy, you are going to make them weaker to kinetic damage, allowing you the option to swap to your kinetic weapon. And for PvP, the perk really doesn't matter for your second perk, but in case you kill somebody, go Chain Reaction because it's kind of fun to watch them explode. For PvE, where this weapon shines the most, you have Ambitious Assassin with Chain Reaction, or you can go something different like Demo Wellspring, and Demo on special weapons gives you 20% of your grenade energy instead of just 10, and when you enhance that, it goes up to 22, so 22 plus the 9 from Enhanced Wellspring is over 30% of your grenade energy back just from a single kill, which is pretty fun. But you can also just go Demo Chain Reaction for explosions, give you grenade energy, which is also really, really good. Fallen Guillotine is the best sword in Destiny 2, and it has a couple good rolls. Number one is Frenzy Surrounded, which is going to be 15% damage buff from Frenzy, and then on Surrounded is going to be a 35% damage buff. This is incredibly powerful, and what I recommend for DPS, you can do something like Relentless Strikes, which is going to grant you 1 ammo for every 3 hits that you hit the enemy with. And if you're like me and you enjoy Shatter Skating or Well Skating, you're going to want Eager Edge on one of these, but you can get a lot of swords with Eager Edge. This doesn't have to be the one that you use because you can just craft the Truth from Days of Eternity, but a lot of people would rather play this over Days of Eternity because honestly, Onslaught is a better version of Days of Eternity. Eager Edge is also what I'd recommend if this is the heavy you're going to run in Crucible because it gives you the ability to just skirt to the enemy and kill them before they can kill you with their shotgun. Also, I want to recommend Whirlwind Blaze if you don't like Surrounded, because Surrounded sometimes doesn't always proc. Elsie's rifle is the best pulse rifle in Destiny 2 right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they nerfed just this weapon because of how powerful it is. So for Crucible, you're going to want Zen Moment with Headseeker or Keep Away Kill Clip. Any combination of those, so Zen Moment Kill Clip, Zen Moment Headseeker, Keep Away Kill Clip, Keep Away Headseeker, any combination of those are good for Crucible. Absolutely fantastic. And for the Crucible, I have a Zen Moment Headseeker roll, and it's insane. And if you just get Ricochet with Hammerforge rifling and maybe a range masterwork, you can even go fluted if you wanted to. You're still sitting at 75 range, which is a ton of range, so I feel like Keep Away isn't necessary, but a lot of people like it. And as far as PvE goes, you can either go Rewind Rounds, Repulsor Brace with Destabilizing or Frenzy. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Wee Woo with Frenzy. Next up is Edge Transit, which is a big controversial weapon, and that's because the shiny version can have access to 2 different perks in that first column, and people were using Envious Cascade Point, and you would just build up stacks of Envious, swap to Cascade, mag dump with Cascade, which allows you to shoot faster, and it was kind of broken, and because of that, Bungie has ruined tons of swapping builds just to nerf this one perk. So, what do you want on this thing? Envious Assassin is the clear winner. It's much better than Cascade by itself. So you want Envious Assassin with either Bait and Switch or Explosive Light, depending on how you like to play. If you can proc Bait and Switch pretty regularly, go Bait and Switch. And if you're inconsistent with it, just go something like Explosive Light. And if you use this thing in Crucible, you want Volatile Launch, just so you can increase your blast radius with a blast radius masterwork. It's going to put you at 75 blast radius, and you need 70 to get the one-shots nowadays. Blast Furnace is really good. 4-round bursts are incredibly powerful in PvE, and that's where I want to start with this thing. So you can go shoot to loot just for extra usability, but the combo I'm going to recommend is going to start off with Kinetic Tremors and One for All. You can also use Frenzy if you'd like, but pretty much if you get Kinetic Tremors to proc, it's going to proc your One for All. Kinetic Tremors also does the damage bonus of Frenzy or One for All, making it really, really good. You can also just go something like Firefly. I prefer Shoot to Loot Firefly if I'm going to use Firefly personally. And then for the Crucible, I'm going to recommend Zen Moment with Kill Clip or Headseeker with Kill Clip. You can also throw Rapid Hit in there with either one of those, either Zen Moment or Headseeker. It's also really, really good, but unfortunately, I never got the roll. I'm just going to take other people's words for it. As far as your barrel, mag, and mass work, this thing has really bad handling, so I recommend boosting that, and then probably your magazine for PvE. Now we got Hammerhead, which has a ton of perks. In the first column, you can use any of these: Destabilizing, Envious Assassin, Rewind Rounds, or 4th times the charm. And in that final column, you have stuff like Surrounded, Onslaught, Killing Tally, Target Lock, and Desperate Measures. I'm honestly going to recommend that you use Rewind Killing Tally. That one just feels the best to me, but you can go something like Envious Surrounded or Destabilizing with any of those damage perks in the final column. The only one that I don't recommend that I see a lot of people recommend is Target Lock, and people use this thing for DPS. Let me tell you, don't use LMGs for DPS. They ain't good anymore. Next up we have Hung Jury, which I absolutely hate. I'm going to recommend Rewind Explosive Payload. Literally, Explosive Payload will proc Rewind over and over again, so you can just constantly shoot and never have to reload, which I find really fun. There's also Kinetic Tremors One for All. It does the same thing that Blast Furnace does, just as good. You can also go something like Shoot to Loot Firefly, and then there's also the option of Precision Instrument, but I absolutely hate using this perk. And if you're going to use this thing in Crucible, I'm definitely going to recommend Rapid Hit with Cascade Point or No Distractions Box Breathing. Don't swap those combos. It's just those combos the way they are. Don't switch them because they have good synergy. And yeah, don't use this in Crucible. What are you doing? Luna's Howl has a few crazy rolls. So right now there's a bug where Discord can do some crazy things. I'll link to my video on that. Discord with Incandescent with that glitch is really good right now. In the future, might not be so good. We have Hill Clip, Incandescent. I don't like that roll, not a big fan. I'm actually a bigger fan of Enlightened Action Incandescent because this thing reloads very, very slowly. And then if you're going to be playing the Crucible, I'm going to recommend Slide Shot with Magnificent Howl. I will link my video on that to explain how it works because it's really a lot for me to get into with just this video. Slide Shot Precision Instrument really isn't that bad. You can use that as well, or Slide Shot Opening, but Slide Shot Magnificent Howl is the best combo, and I definitely recommend getting Ricochet rounds on this and Hammerforged Rifling, even small bore or full bore if you're okay with sacrificing some of that stability, and a range masterwork because this thing needs straight range. If you're using Midnight Coup and Crucible, there's really only one way to build this thing, and that's Hammerforged Rifling, Accurized Rounds, Range Masterwork to sit at just 70, which is where a lot of 140s sit normally, and it really needs this. You're going to want to use that with Explosive Payload Zen Moment. It feels fantastic. Explosive Payload double procs Zen Moment, making this thing super stable. Also with this hand cannon, I definitely recommend you put on a counterbalance. For some reason, it pulls a lot one way, and I hate it. You can swap Zen Moment for Opening Shot. You can also swap Explosive Payload for Moving Target if that's what you prefer, or Shoot to Loot. Shoot to Loot does give you 5 extra range when enhanced, which can be nice. And for PvE, I just go Firefly One for All. That's the best feeling one, but Firefly with any damaging perk, so Rampage, One for All, or Frenzy are all really good options. Also, Explosive Payload Frenzy, double damage perks, really, really busted. Succession is a really fun sniper rifle that I feel like gets a lot of shit because it shouldn't have returned, but nevertheless, I really enjoy this weapon. One of those rules being Discord Recombination. When you proc Discord, you have to get a kill with your other weapon, so your primary, and then your sniper final blows refund ammo as long as Discord is active, and then when you have that paired with redirection, you're going to build damaging stacks of redirection, which can do a ton of damage to major bosses every time you kill a combatant. So it's really, really powerful to slay combatants and then deal a bunch of damage in one shot to a bigger target. There's also Reconstruction with pretty much any damaging perk it has, whether you want Recombination, Vorpal Weapon, or Firing Line. Even Focus Fury are fantastic options with this weapon. It's pretty good for DPS. Hopefully one day they'll buff of aggressive frame snipers to make this even better. And for Crucible, use any other sniper, but if you're a big fan of the sights on this thing, you have Moving Target Snapshot. Mountaintop is a really good weapon that Bungie decided to nerf recently for no good reason, where it doesn't give you as much momentum, making it a really bad movement tool. Hopefully Bungie will patch this, but that really has nothing to do with the perks. For the perks, I recommend 3 specific perks in the first column, those being auto-loading, lead from gold, or impulse amplifier. Impulse amplifier secretly gives you bonus reload speed, which is a really good thing for this weapon, so you can use that with something like Vorpal or Frenzy. You can use lead from gold with Vorpal or Frenzy. You can even use it with Recombination, but my favorite one is auto-loading Recombination. Basically, you swap to it, shoot your Recombination shot, swap off, build up stacks of Recombination. It'll be auto-loaded with the Recombination shot, and you just swap to it, shoot out that Recombo shot, continue on. And remember, this thing sucks in Crucible. Do not use it. Recluse is one of my favorite weapons, and it has a lot of roles. So the first one being for PvE, you can either go Enlightened Action or Subsistence with Master of Arms, Frenzy, or Desperate Measures. Personally, the role that I was always looking for was Enlightened Action Desperate Measures. I got Enlightened Action Master of Arms, which isn't that bad. Plus, before this is released, Master of Arms is supposedly getting a tune, so hopefully it's a buff and not a nerf, but I'll post in the pinned comments what it is. For PvP, I'm going Dynamic Sway with Tap the Trigger or Dynamic Sway Master of Arms, because Master of Arms does slightly shift your TTK to go from a 0.73 to a 0.6, making it pretty good. Some people say that Dynamic Sway doesn't activate fast enough, so they would rather go Threat Detector or Hipfire Grip. You can do that if you'd like. You can also go Enlightened Action. I see a lot of people say that, but I don't want handling on a lightweight frame. It already has that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and if you did enjoy, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. It would really help me out, and comment down below what you think about this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be.